What up, everybody? It's your boy just like back with another video, guys. You know it. Anyways, guys, today's this video. It's the last video of the day. It's done for the day. I'm probably gonna do more over the week. If not, I will be doing over the weekend. Definitely will be doing a video on Goosebumps 2, the movie. I will talk to you right after I go, maybe about when I go see it with my friend. With a friend, I'm gonna go see it. Hopefully, aka we'll be more than friends with one of these soon. Yeah. So, the story I'm going to tell you is the story of Purim, which is a Jewish holiday. Now, one thing I'm going to tell you this is a lot of Jewish holidays borrow off each other older holidays that regular people celebrate. Like, Halloween is Halloween, and Purim is the one I'm telling you about, is basically Jewish Halloween. Hanukkah is Jewish Christmas, even though it's a lot better than Christmas that ever would be, because instead of getting presents on one day of Christmas, you get presents on one day. You get presents for one day. Hanukkah, you get presents for 8 days, which is a real big deal. And then there's Yom Kippur, which is our version of Lent, and there's Rosh Hashanah, which is our version of New Year's. So all the regular holidays regular people celebrate, we have our own versions of it, but still. But they don't ever show up around the same time. I mean, Purim shows up around November. I think it's November, but I'm thinking, or December, or whatever day. Passover is our version of Easter, and it's actually in the same month as Easter, but it's horrible. Back to the story. So the story of Purim takes place a long ass time ago. I don't remember what the exact date they say in the story is, but I can tell you that it takes place during the Persian Empire, and most likely in Persia. And what it's basically going on is the king. I forgot the king's name. I never remember the king's name. But the king of the Persian Empire, who recently just got to the throne, so wife, basically did not want to be his wife anymore. So they got a divorce. Or I'm not sure if they got a divorce. I think he killed her because she spoke her mind. I don't know what happened. I don't remember that part of the story. I know that the king is no longer married and is looking for a new woman to be his queen. So he makes a royal decree stating that all the women in the nearby lands, all the women of marrying age, and beautiful women to be had, no uglies, sorry, that's how the story goes, must line up and be, judged by him, and he will pick one of them to be his wife. And so there's this girl named Esther and her uncle Mordecai, who Mordecai is the leader of the Jews at the time period across the entire Persian Empire. He's the head Jew, if you want to call it like that. He volunteers her, even though she doesn't want to go really, and she goes, and out of all the girls in the Persian Empire, she is picked because she is the most beautiful in the king's eyes, and she is taken to the palace, where she is taught, not taught, there's a test she has to take in a way, it's not an actual, written test, but it's about, if she's suitable to be a queen in the king's eyes, and she passes the test with flying colors by having a party every single night, and all these things. So, the king lets his friend Haman, or his royal advisor, to become his second in command. Basically, he is almost as powerful as the king, but he's not. He basically controls the entire empire when the king is busy doing other shit. And Haman gets a ring, and as part of the deal, he's supposed to, all the people are supposed to bow down to him because, he became the new, second in command, and it's a great honor and all that type of things. Well, Jews are not supposed to bow down to shit. They're not supposed to. So in the middle of all the thing, the Jews don't bow it, so they bow, but they don't bow low enough, and he hates that, and he actually hates the Jews too. So he says, okay, you don't want to bow to me? That's fine. You're all gonna die. So he sets a date in the Persian calendar, or the Islamic calendar, to the 5th, actually today is the Jewish calendar, to the 15th of Adar, which is basically April. 15th or depending on who's telling the story, it's the 15th of April or the 13th of April. Okay, it depends on who the story to tell. Some scholars like to say it's the 13th. Some say it's the 15th. No one really knows. It's most likely there's two. If you said either of them, you'd be right. Okay. And they execute all the Jews in the Persian Empire. Now Mordecai is freaking out and he sacks his clothes. And Mordecai, meaning he changes clothes because Jews wore different things. Now, a bunch of other people got behind this idea fast. The king, more or less didn't give a shit. He really didn't care at all. So, months leading up into it, and Esther is afraid of for three reasons. One, she's afraid that if he does tell the king that she's Jewish, one, he won't marry her, and he won't do anything to stop Haman, and probably kill her himself, because again, at the time, Jews weren't really well liked, and let alone didn't really matter, and she actually does like the king, loves him in a way, and then two, she's afraid of the repercussions if all that basically. So one day, she keeps inviting the king and Haman to a party in her own private chambers, like a dinner party, and every single day she asks, things. So one day, I'm just telling you my version of the story, but it's just there's so many versions of the same story, it's so fucking stupid. It's the point where it gets real stupid. Okay, well, anyways, finally one day, she grows enough courage to tell the king. She walks into the king's quarters, and at the time, you're not even supposed to walk into the king's quarters without even being asking to be in there and all that. And she just barges in, and she doesn't really barge in, but she opens the doors and says, "I need to tell you something, and I need to tell you something now." And some whatever era type of speech they said, she says, "Okay, you can tell me. What do you want to know? What do you want me to know?" And she says, "I'm Jewish." And he's like, "Oh, okay, so that's fine. I don't care." And she's like, "Okay. Also, your second in command is planning to kill all of us. So on the 15th of Adar. So yeah. Also, earlier than that, but way earlier than that, there was an assassination attempt on the king, and Mordecai saves the king from the assassination attempt, and to give him Mordecai a honorable thing, Mordecai is given, a chance to be royalty for a day, like you could say, and it's up to Haman to do that. And Haman's pissed about it, obviously. And also Haman has built a gallows to hang the Jews on the 15th of Adar. After he is told this, the king is fucking furious. For one, this guy is going behind is planning to kill all his subjects, who literally did nothing but just didn't bow so low because of their religion. Two, he's also threatened his soon-to-be wife, since she's now Jewish and he realizes that, and that's fucked up. And three, I'm not even sure if the king really knew. I don't think the king really knew. Yeah, I don't think the king really knew that she was Jew, that he did, what was going on, and that all that type of jazz. So then he calls Haman into his chambers or into the royal court, and he basically says, "Oh yeah, I'm taking back my ring. You're no longer in charge. Also, the day that now was sentenced." The gallows that you built and the day that you were sentenced to them, now that will be your execution day. Have fun. And they execute him. Now, another part of this, and then the story is that later on it gets really bloody and very violent. In that part where it says that the Esther and all the Jews and Mordecai ask the king if they can kill their enemies on this day, the 13th, 15th, and 16th of Adar. And they're like, okay, yeah, sure, go kill him, go kill him. I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay. I'm reading this this part of the story was at like 12 o'clock midnight one night, because I was wondering what the actual story of the Purim was, and I just sat there, I'm like, okay, that was really fucked up. And back to the video itself. And I'm sitting there, and I'm sitting there. Anyway, so then the king said, Haman's killed, and it's been customary since then to dress up as since people changed their clothes and dressed up like not themselves. You dress up as in a costume, most likely. Now, some people, Jews, most Jews celebrate Halloween. Sorry to tell you that, but they do. Some do. Most do. Unless you're like one of my neighbors who's like, nah, Halloween is just a holiday where the devil worshippers and stuff like that. I'm honest to God, if you ever say that to me in my face, I will slap you in the face. I didn't slap this person in the face because there's two reasons. One, they were a woman, and two, they were an adult, and I was 15 years old, and that wouldn't have looked good on my parents, especially on me as a person, as well as anyone else. But I wanted to slap her so badly, because first of all, that shouldn't be a reason for you not to celebrate a fucking holiday. Okay? Doesn't matter what the history of the holiday was. Here's how I see it. The holiday could be so fucked up, it doesn't even matter. In the ideas of my mind, for example, in my mind, if Halloween has nothing, it's not really a bad holiday at all. There was no one ever has been, in its history, there was never sacrifices, there was never really, like anything like that. All it was a day that people thought that the world between the living and the dead was, the wall or the veil between the living and dead was at its thinnest, meaning between on the peak of the winter solstice, which was October, and that's in the pagan holiday, okay, or the Druids or whatever they want to call them, who started this holiday, and they thought that it would be a good idea, to gather all around, dress up as monsters, and scare any would-be ghost schools or things that come out from the world of the dead from bothering them in the middle of the night on October 31st. It's basically what the story of Halloween is. Anyways, going through many changes along the way in history. Back to the video itself. So Purim. So now it's customary for people to dress up as costumes. To represent what the Jews did during the story so they didn't look like Jews. Anyways, it's also customary that when we go to a service, kind of like service, you could say that, and where every time Haman's name is mentioned, some people make noise, some people actually boo. I remember one guy, I don't know, I think it was in high school, it was a high school thing at my high school for the Jewish club, and one guy said, "Boo, you fucking stink!" And I started laughing my ass off. I was dying. I'm like, ah, he does fucking stink, ah. But I didn't laugh like that. But I did say he did fucking stink, and I was dying at the same time while I was laughing. Anyways, guys, that's the story of Purim. I know it's a really effed up story, and it's weird, and it's kind of like, oh, what's the fuck going on here? But it's the story nonetheless. I will see you guys in the next video. Please like, comment, subscribe, share. Like, comment, and subscribe if you like this video, and I'll do more videos like this. I'll definitely be doing some mythologies videos soon. Because I've been wanting to get back to those because I love mythology so much. It's actually one of my favorite subjects as when I was a kid in school. When I went to... Now, if you don't know this, in northern states, I'm not sure if it's in southern states, but in northern states, when I was going to school at the time, the school I went to had history, and then they had a block of history that was just mythology, and it was called mythology class. I think that's what it was called for me. I call it mythology class, but it was probably called histrology is what they called it. Well, I think the teacher called it. Anyways, that's it for this video. Share me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, and I'll see you in the next video, guys.